A Bibi Fahoudier and blessings to the ancestors. Is this shown here with a new deep state oriented Blacklash video where we'll be discussing the details around the assassination of Congolese Prime Minister Patrice Lumumba and strategic organizational lessons to be learned from this tragic event and the deep state elements that led to Lumumba's downfall, thus leading to the contemporary conditions of the DRC today. Before we get started, as always, if you have interest in joining or supporting the Original People's Party, or OPP for short, feel free to sign up at ogpeoples.org/join and consider joining our Patreon at $3 a month to support our future development efforts. Thank you, and let's get started with today's video. To start off, let's give a brief historical overview of the Congo. Before European colonization, the area known as the modern Congo was populated by a multitude of Bantu ethnic groups, which consisted of several regional kingdoms such as the Luba, the Kuba, Lunda, and Congo peoples that existed alongside each other over the course of the Central African region's history. The first known European contact for the Congo was in the 16th century by the Portuguese, where Congo king Mvimba Nzinga was converted to Christianity and became known as Alfonso I, thus opening the Congo to Portuguese trade in goods and demand for local African slaves. Given its vast interior, the Congo wasn't able to be penetrated by foreign powers in depth until European explorers such as Henry Morton Stanley in the 1870s under the sponsorship of King Leopold II of Belgium. Over time, internal conflicts and wars led to the fall of these African kingdoms and the Congo becoming a Belgian colonial property of Leopold II. During Leopold's administration, there were numerous human rights abuses which instituted forced slave labor of local Congolese who worked and extracted the resources in mines, thus leading to locals being maimed or killed. Historians have described this period as a Holocaust-type event, with the estimation of 10 to 15 million Congolese being killed during the Leopold era. After his abuses were exposed, Leopold was forced by Western powers to transfer the Congo into Belgian control, which enabled Western access to its vast resources as well. The importance of this period is that it would produce many economic benefits for Belgian and later Western interests, in which the colony produced many strategic raw materials for industrial production at the time, such as ivory, rubber, copper. For example, in Walter Rodney's work, How Europe Undeveloped Africa, he explains the importance of Congo's resources to Western capitalist development by using copper as an example, stating,
"Copper, extracted through mines by Africans to get the ore for export, was an excellent conductor of electricity and an indispensable part of the capitalist industry. It is an essential component of generators, motors, the electric locomotives, the telephones, the telegraphs, light and power lines, motor cars, buildings, ammunition, radios, refrigerators, and a host of other things. Therefore, the vital copper exports from Congo and other parts of Africa were contributing to European technology, thus creating multiplier effects that were a memorable and incalculable benefit to capitalist development."
Among the essential resources that the Congo produced, one of which proved crucial was uranium, which served as the chemical fuel for the creation of the United States atomic bomb, a nuclear weapon which was launched in the closing days of World War II. This resource, among others, will play a crucial geopolitical role in the post-colonial era afterwards. In the aftermath of World War II, nationalist fervors grew throughout the European colonial areas, and the Congo was no exception. By the 1950s, local Congolese agitation towards nationhood led the Belgians to concede to independence. Amongst the aspiring local leaders, Patrice Lumumba emerged as a charismatic spokesman who preached multi-ethnic unity to form a nation-state as the founder of the Congolese national movement to address the material needs of the people. Crucially, Lumumba also spoke firmly in opposition to Belgian exploitation of Congo's resources, in which he called for the nationalization of Belgian assets in the Congo. As Lumumba and his party was emerging as the leading candidate to become prime minister and take control over the Congo government, this nationalist rhetoric alarmed Western powers who already had vital economic interest in the soon-to-be country that may become nationalized. To prevent this unfavorable outcome, Belgium recruited its Western ally, the United States, and its CIA, along with local Congolese intelligence assets such as Moise Tshobe and Joseph Mobutu. Mobutu, in particular, reportedly had ties to the Belgian intelligence agencies dating back to the early 1950s, as detailed in Susan Williams' work, The White Malice, stating,
"There was widespread suspicion of Mobutu in Congolese circles during the Round Table. It was widely believed that he had been an informer in the pay of Belgium since the late 1950s. Jeff Van Bilsen, who was at the Round Table, was an advisor to Aboko, personally warned Lumumba that Mobutu was working as an informer. He pointed out that this made MNCL vulnerable, given Mobutu's prominent role in the party."
Despite these warnings, Lumumba cast aside these rumors as an innocent way for Mobutu to earn extra money. As a result, soon after Lumumba's election in July 1960 as prime minister, the Congo crisis erupted as several regions attempted mutinies and secessions, such as the mineral-rich region of Katanga. As it will be revealed in official documents decades later, the crisis was instigated by the CIA, who, with the support of the US and Belgian governments, backed regional secessionist leaders such as Mobutu, Tshobe, Kasavubu, and others to prevent the DRC implementation of Lumumba's nationalist agenda. These events would lead to the house arrest of Lumumba and his subsequent escape, thus ultimately being killed by those Western-backed forces in the midst of the Congo crisis in January 1961. The lessons to be learned from the Lumumba assassination are several, but to be fair to Lumumba, there were numerous forces at play for even an experienced leader that were elected under those similar circumstances. For starters, the Congo was emerging from colonial rule where the economy and the pre-existing infrastructure was under the control of the Belgian and Western corporations who set up shop there. So in my view, there simply wasn't enough time to consolidate economic and political power to succeed with nationalization of those Western assets or handle control of the army, particularly the foreign-backed rebels, in a limited time between his election and the start of the Congo crisis. This includes being unable to foment regional alliances with neighbors who were also emerging out of colonialism, with the exception of Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah, who attempted to intervene. However, one of the glaring and more correctable mistakes Lumumba made is not having a zero-tolerance policy for informants. Lumumba's knowledge of existing informants like Mobutu within his cabinet should have been a clear alarm politically, as the existence of one informant in his administration could certainly lead to the infiltration of other positions of power. For example, such as segments of the military that cooperated with the CIA and Western interests to launch the Congo crisis and war after Lumumba's death. As I continue to do this Blacklash video, we will see a continuous parallels with the Lumumba assassination and others that will serve as historical lessons for us as African peoples as we organize to pursue our own alternatives to Western imperialism and domination. As I wrap up, if you are interested in OPP and want to join or support, click the link in the description to sign up to stay in contact with me. And also, stay tuned for upcoming Blacklash videos and live streams I'm planning to do about once or twice a month. Until next time, Bibi Fahudie and blessings to the ancestors.